herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge vom One More Level Gamer Podcast. Nur mit mir, am Philipp, beziehungsweise mal wieder eine Bonus-Episode. Ich hatte die Möglichkeit, in Berlin den Nolan zu treffen. Zwar einer der bekanntesten Synchronsprecher. Seine berühmteste Rolle ist sicher der Nathan Drake aus der Uncharted-Serie. Hat aber auch den Penguin im Batman gemacht. Der Desmond Miles aus Assassin's Creed und jenste mehr. Und ich kann natürlich ein plaudern mit dem, anlässlich dieser neuen Collector's Edition von Uncharted, die rausgekommen ist. Und viel Spass mit reinhören. Tonqualität, ab und zu hört man, dass irgendwie jemand in den Raum hineinläuft im Interview. Aber ja, das soll euch nicht davon abhalten, da ein bisschen mitzuhören, was der Herr zu erzählen hat. Ja, viel Spass. I was wondering, because I always found the Uncharted series is quite funny and all. Mm-hmm. I wondered if you had a favorite line of Nathan Drake.
There's been so many, it's really hard to pick. I think the story that came years ago that was where my son, as a little boy, was playing a game and said, "Kitty got wet." And it was just became one of these things that that people made T-shirts out of, something that a 9-year-old little boy had said in a very innocent manner, but it sounds could be dirty, but it's not, and it just means the cat got wet, so he lost. He's miserable, and after Nathan Drake punches somebody out, he said that, and it came just out of a total joke, improv in one of the sessions. But to pick a line from all of the adventures, the hours of adventures, it would be, "Aw, crap." I don't know if that's really a line as much as just an exclamation, but it sums up so much of his idea. Just that it's like here we go again. That I'm the underdog and there's trouble, and I would so much rather be somewhere else right now. But I could go on for hours about the different lines and give you stories behind some of them. There are so many.
So, I guess you have a script with all the lines and so. But can you come up with some of your own stuff?
Improv and ad lib, yeah, absolutely. No, the script is always written so great. I mean, these 3 games represent some of the best writing in video games, I think, ever. And from good writing, you have good structure, and from good structure, you can kind of branch out. It's like a tree. You have a good, strong trunk. It's going to get more shoots and branches. We were always invited to collaborate, to maybe, make it our own, make it sometimes better. Most of the time, it's as written, but these little moments would come out. The cinematics, there'd be sometimes we would work through things, but the cinematics structure was mostly written. What we did that was different from other games was during the gameplay. When you're running along as Nathan Drake, we did something called chasing picture, where a designer or someone from Naughty Dog would play through a level and would run through. They would record that, bring it to a voiceover session, not the performance capture stage, bring it to a session. And I would sit and watch it and just make things up as I go. There would be some lines written for those that needed, how am I going to get up, how am I going to get up there? Was a line that is a hint to the player that you need to go up. Yeah. So those lines were necessary. But then I would make things up. If I gave Elena or Chloe, I think there's one famously where I give Chloe a boost, and she said, I said, "There you go." I said, "Not a bad view." Yeah. Because the designer looks up and there's just a butt right in front of him. So I just said, "Nice view," and they kept that in. And there's another one as you're running through with Sullivan in the chateau level in Uncharted 3, where I said, "Come on this way, hey, popcorn machine." And because there was something in that level that looked like an old-fashioned popcorn machine, and so I said it. And they thought it was funny, so they left it in. It's very, very rewarding, because I've met with a lot of fans who say, sometimes I'm running through something, and I'll see something, and I'll think, and right as I'm thinking something, you say what I'm thinking. It's because it's almost like breaking that fourth wall with the audience. the Marco Polo in Uncharted 2. The designer somehow had jumped in the pool and swam around, and that's when I went, Marco. And I remember Claudia Black was sitting next to me in the session. She goes, I'm not going to say it. And I'm like, come on, Marco. And she goes, Polo. And everyone was laughing. And they said, okay, so that becomes something that if you jump in that pool, that little moment is triggered. And so absolutely. And I think that's what made it kind of spontaneous and fun. And it's when people ask me if I'm a lot like Nathan Drake or is he like me, we share that sense of humor because my sense of humor, I was allowed to do that so much and so often. Cool.
So you said your kids also played some of your games. So what do they think when they play it? Do they think they play their dad?
Well, yeah, because Drake's voice is my own. So and especially my older son, who's he gets it, and he's actually come to some of the motion capture sessions and watched and done it, and who knows, he actually may become an actor someday. He's talking about it, and which terrifies me, makes me proud and terrifies me at the same time. But it's wouldn't that be a thrill though someday to be able to work with my son and even on something or even in a game? I mean, I think that could be fun. But it's. They understand it's just a game. They understand that it's just because when I go home I'm just dad, but they seem to like it, so I'm going to keep going.
So you did some very different voices, like the Penguin in the Batman game. What are your favorite voices, if you could just choose? Because
the Penguin, for instance, is one of my favorites because for a number of reasons, but that role came along at a time when a bunch of people were saying Nolan North is in too many games and he always sounds the same. And then that game came out and people were like, well, he doesn't sound the same in Batman. They're like, no, he's not in Batman. And they're like, he's the Penguin. They're like, no, he isn't. And then they look up and they're like, oh, wow, he is. That Portal, where I did the Adventure Sphere and Fact Sphere and Space Core and the defective turrets. I mean, when we did with
Ratchet and Clank and Sigmund, doing Sigmund, the little robot.
That kind of thing. And, people started seeing it with The Last of Us. We never let it be known that I was in Last of Us. And you don't find out until you watch all the credits. I'm at the end as David, and people didn't know I was David. So I love that. I love kind of sneaking in and being people going, hey, oh, wow, that was him. So those are a few of my favorites, at least in gaming. Yeah. There's just a few. I mean, Deadpool is just kind of like the most ridiculous kind of thing. That it's just it's not too cartoony, but then you could do the serious Deadpool, and then the one is like this, and then this one. So to bounce between those is somewhat schizophrenic, but it was brilliant in its comedy and its writing. I thought that was a lot of fun.
So do you come up yourself with the voices, or is it like?
A lot of time, either in animation or with a game, any type of animation, cartoons, whatever it may be, they'll bring me a photograph. A digital image will look at something to go off. Mm-hmm. And you kind of look at the physicality, the size of the character. Is he big? Is he little? Has he got short legs, long legs, thin, tall, mustache? What does his jaw look like? And then you kind of go from there. And sometimes the producers and the directors of whatever project you're on have an idea what they're looking for. And then you just kind of find it from there. In the case of like the Penguin, though, you saw him kind of short and stocky, and he's bunched up, and he's always got the cigar, and then the bottle's jammed in his face, and he looks physically uncomfortable. Mm-hmm.
And with the cigar, you start there. Them cigar smokers might be here, and then
they wanted kind of that Americanized British version of Cockney. Just kind of not dead on Cockney or anything. So
he does like this, and then I'll jam my neck up, and now all of a sudden you're looking for the bat, aren't you?
And it's just one of those things where it came out, and once we did it, they're like, yes, that's it. But that's like one of the best parts and most fun of my job is when the first 5-10 minutes of a session when we're just finding the character, we will literally like, you know, like, oh, we might have been more like this, you know, the penguin, we're gonna get the bat, and they're like, no, maybe more gravel. They bring the gravel, you know, and we'll play with it and find it until we tune it, and then they go, that's it, that's the one, and you go. It's kind of like, I suppose it's like playing a musical instrument to a certain point. It's like, is it this chord or this chord? How about this chord? What if I hit the guitar and play this chord? Yes, there we go. Let's do that. And then you just set that in your head and you go. Cool. It's that's kind of how it's done.
So if you can do several different voices, do you use them? I don't know, on the phone to prank people.
I've done that. Yes, a lot of times, like you know, you do a Christopher Walken ordering pizza, right? I want a pepperoni, but I don't want that sausage. You have the crumbled sausage. What's the sliced kind? I don't like that. You know, you could do that. Yeah, of course. You know, I have people who do voicemails for people and do different kind of things, but you know, not so much anymore. I used to leave a nice, funny, outgoing message, but then as I realized I was getting older and there were professionals calling me, and there's, you know, business people, business managers, everything, you know, I don't want them going,
hey, you reached Nolan, leave a message.
You don't want that. It's like, I reached my number, just give me a message, you know, and my friends are like, that's kind of disappointing, voice guy, why don't you do something funny? It's like, because I'm 44 and I'm a grown up now, so.
Okay, it's one last question.
Okay.
Is there a favorite or a character you would like to voice? A video game character?
You know what? I get this question a lot, and I gotta say, I don't know. There's certainly none that I think, oh, I wish, you know, say, people said, any character you would have liked to have a crack at, but, you know, the people in the voiceover industry, the other actors, we're fans of each other. We're friends. It's kind of a small community. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine like doing Wolverine, because Wolverine, great character, but it's my buddy Steve Bloom. I can't do it better than him. I'm not ashamed to say that. I can't do it. I could do something different, but I wouldn't want to watch that version. I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest, you know, there are certain characters that you can't get to. There's certain voices. There might be voices that I can kind of do, but. You know, like, for instance, Winnie the Pooh is an actor named Jim Cummings. Brilliant actor named Jim Cummings. And I can kind of do a Winnie the Pooh voice, you know, getting in here and having honey. And I could read stories to my kids. But when you meet him and he does that voice, it's so much more full and round. And it is Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it's him. And everything else is an imitation. Yeah. And it's... you know, while the other imitations could be close and they're good and they can, you know, kids might not know. He is. I mean, it is so good. Same with, you know, like...
so Ghost was a different thing.
For Destiny.
Yeah.
You know, people ask me about that a lot, and it's the first time I've ever replaced someone or something, but I didn't look at it like that. I hadn't heard what he did. I didn't want to hear it. I ended up hearing a couple things before, but... you know, not enough for me to judge his performance. It just, I heard what the tone. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, I treated it like, it's a new role. What do they want? How would I do this if I were from day one and it wasn't a replacement job? So we sat with them, just like I just explained to you, and said, well, how about this? What if we did this? What if we brought it here? And that's where I kind of found like he wanted to be in here. Okay. And he's you know, just a little enthusiasm, but you know, like this is, and show some compassion and find something that wouldn't be too annoying, but would be informative. And that's where that voice kind of fell into. It was, it reminded me of, what was wasn't it David Hasselhoff who did Knight Rider? Yeah. He did Knight Rider, Kit. That if you listen to Kit, it's kind of my take on Kit. The ghost is kind of like he's running around. We have to get going. Guardian, eyes up, and you know it's just that kind of information, but has a little bit of personality. Yeah. You know, you could tell that Kit Car would, you know, could understood sarcasm, because why couldn't an advanced artificial intelligence understand the concept of sarcasm?
Yeah.
And that's where that's where I wanted to find that life, find that enthusiasm, and hopefully make that a pleasurable experience.
Okay, nice.
Das wäre es auch schon wieder gewesen mit dieser Bonus-Episode. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Und bis zum nächsten Mal, wenn es wieder heisst One More Level Gamer Podcast mit einer regulären Folge und mit ein paar mehr, die quatschen. Merci fürs Zuhören. Ciao zusammen.